I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday morning, December 27th. Looks like a very active weather pattern going forward for the next several days for much of the nation. We have a low pressure area now approaching the eastern part of the nation. It will bring some wintry precipitation to parts of the mid-Atlantic region. By the way, there were some beautiful red skies this morning, earlier this morning across southeastern Pennsylvania, and in this particular case it is indeed a warning that some precipitation is on the way. Snow, sleet, primarily to the north of the Mason-Dixon line, maybe some rain mixed in as well, especially south of the Pennsylvania-Maryland border, and then we'll have another couple of low-pressure areas to deal with during the remainder of the work week, the shortened work week, and then a big system will impact much of the eastern half of the nation over the upcoming New Year's Day weekend, and we'll get into that a little bit over the next several minutes. First of all, let's take a look at the radar here, and we have a pretty solid area of precipitation out across southwestern Pennsylvania, basically moving from west to east. There are some forerunner snow, sleet showers of the scattered variety, still fighting some of the dry air in the lower levels of the atmosphere, so much of this is not reaching the ground. Temperatures generally in the 30s across the suburban areas to the north and west of the I-95 corridor region, and this is the area to really watch as it progresses across central Pennsylvania and then into southeastern Pennsylvania later this morning, midday hours. And again, it could bring some snow and sleet to areas, again, primarily north of the Pennsylvania-Maryland border. A little bit of rain, maybe some sleet or snow mixed in for the D.C. metro region over the next several hours. Well, before we take a look at last night's zero-Z run of the GFS model run for the upcoming active weather pattern, just wanted to point out again, I've talked about this at times before, the difference between the 0Z run, 12Z run, and the 6Z and 18Z run. The 0Z runs of the models, like the GFS model, and the 12Z runs have the very latest, the freshest Radiason data implemented into the model. This is upper air data collected by Radiason balloons that are launched at scattered sites across the nation and indeed across the world. And they're typically, these balloons are launched every 12 hours, so they feed into the what are called the 0Z and the 12Z model runs. And the 6Z and 18Z model runs have what I call stale Radiason data, 6-hour-old Radiason data. It has the very latest surface observations, but kind of late in the game for the Radiason data. And that upper air data is very, very important for the accuracy of the computer forecast models. All the action in the upper part of the atmosphere dictates what goes on down at the surface level. So the bottom line here is, if you're a snow lover and you like to take a look at the snow maps with these models, definitely be skeptical about the 6Z or 18Z model runs if some of those trends are not confirmed by the next model run, the 0Z or the 12Z model runs. You'll often run into big, big differences in snowfall between it, let's say the 0Z and the 6Z model run. I'm going to show you this particular case right now. This is the 10-day forecast map of snowfall for the northeastern part of the country. Now, this is from the 0Z model run of last night, the one that does indeed have the latest upper air data fed in. And notice here, right across the I-95 corridor region, let's get rid of this plus sign right here. This is all from tropicaltidbits.com. Notice right in here, across the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City area, not much over the next 10 days from the 0Z run of the GFS, maybe an inch or less showing up right here. Just kind of focusing on this area. Let's go to the 6Z run. It came 6 hours later. Big difference, substantial difference here. Let's get rid of this plus sign again. Just a big difference here between this in the I-95 corridor region at 6Z run and this from the 0Z run. And again, this is the kind of a discrepancy you can get in this kind of time range. This is out 10 days. If you go out the entire length of the model, in this particular case the GFS goes all the way out to 384 hours. Let's just take a look at the difference there It's substantial. I'll show here. This is the snowfall map for the next 384 hours in the from the 0Z run. Again, look at on the I-95 corridor region right there. Now let's go to the 6Z run, and it is just a humongous difference here. This is all the way at the same time frame. In fact, let's move out to 384 hours. Look at this here. This is a substantial difference between the 6Z run and the 0Z run. So again, the bottom line here, don't look at individual model runs, especially just the 6Z and 18Z run, and get too excited if you're a snow lover. Wait till the next model run to see if there's a confirming signal that comes from the model runs at 0Z or 12Z that indeed have the very latest upper air data. Well, now let's take a look again using the 0Z model run from last night at the 500 millibar height anomaly maps going forward here. We have a battle, a real battle going on. Been very cold weather relative to normal across the western U.S., southwestern part of Canada, all associated with this deep upper level low. Meanwhile, there's been a strong ridge across the southern states and another upper air low pressure area over the Atlantic Ocean. These two will tend to try to combine and really dominate the scene over the northern U.S. as we go into the new year. But this ridge will not go away, and there'll be a battle. Looks like a constant battle over the next couple of weeks between this ridge that'll pop up to the north every once in a while and these two upper level lows that will kind of try to combine and cause lower heights to normal across much of the northern U.S. Let's now move forward from this morning, Monday morning, and watch what happens here over the next several days. First of all, notice over the next few days, this kind of tends to weaken and gets a little bit shunted to the south here over the next few days. All in all, though, this week will be relatively mild in the mid-Atlantic region, certainly in the southeastern part of the nation. Then we get into the middle part of the week, and that ridge shifts to the eastern seaboard. Again, milder weather pattern here for the next several days across the mid-Atlantic region, the northeast U.S. Still could allow for the some wintry precipitation later today into tonight, though. Now, we move forward here, and we head into the upcoming weekend, and this upper level low, by the time we get to Saturday morning, starts to kind of make a move from the western U.S., and we'll watch as it moves across the nation and moves into the eastern states by Sunday night. And this is certainly a system that we'll have to closely monitor over the next several days. If this can dig a little bit farther to the south and east from where it is located right now in the 0Z forecast model run, it could become quite a snowmaker for parts of the mid-Atlantic region, the northeast U.S. A later Sunday night time frame. And this is certainly something we'll monitor here all the way into a week from now. This is next Monday morning. But this is finally one of those upper level lows finally making a move to the east. And then again on its heels, we'll have that ridge starting to pop up again across the middle part of the nation. So kind of a battle going on between that southern ridge and the upper level lows across the western U.S. and across the Atlantic Ocean. Well, that same kind of a battle in the atmosphere across the continental U.S. with respect to the heights at 500 millibars will take place. Temperature patterns as well. This is the 850 millibar temperature anomalies going forward. A lot of warmer than normal conditions starting off the week here across the middle part of the nation. But look at this bitter cold across Montana, the Pacific Northwest, into the southwestern part of Canada. We move forward here and we'll see this battle going on with respect to temperature. Stays warm for much of the next several days in the eastern half of the nation. Then we get to the upcoming weekend, and again we saw this interesting situation where a piece of the upper level low comes to the east finally, kicks on out here. We have a right in this region right here comes Saturday afternoon, a very strong cold frontal system. Looks like a big storm system will form in this contrast area between the very cold air to the north and west and the very warm air to the south and east. And then by the time we get to the second half of the upcoming weekend, that front starts to kick on through the eastern states. Much colder air moves in, and again there may be a second storm system over the upcoming weekend in the colder air, and it depends on how quick that cold air comes in, which will dictate how much snow can fall in the mid-Atlantic region and the northeast U.S. Obviously, the chances are better inland, higher elevation locations, but if all of this can end up a little bit farther to the south and east, it can really turn into an interesting second half of the weekend. We're talking Sunday, Sunday night, maybe into Monday time frame for the northeastern part of the nation. And we'll see that next on the surface map. And here we go. Let's take a look at the surface forecast maps from the zero-Z run of the GFS. We have this low pressure area out over the middle part of the nation, really centered right now over Minnesota, and it will push some wintry precipitation into the mid-Atlantic region, again, primarily north of the Pennsylvania-Maryland border. There can be some snow or sleet mixed in with the rain in the D.C. metro region, but I think snow and sleet will dominate during the later morning, midday hours across the Philly suburbs, all the way up across, certainly across northeastern Pennsylvania, east central Pennsylvania, and into interior New Jersey. Primarily snow, sleet, maybe even some small accumulations during the midday and early afternoon hours. Then that kind of lightens up a little bit. We have some sleet remaining east central Pennsylvania, maybe some of the far northern western suburbs of Philly. Still a little bit of snow later on today into early tonight across southeastern part of New York. And then we have another low pressure system to deal with later tomorrow into tomorrow night. That looks like a little bit warmer of a system, so the wintry precipitation should be confined to upstate Pennsylvania as opposed to the system today, which should bring some wintry precipitation even in the southeastern part of Pennsylvania. And this will produce some rain all the way into Wednesday morning. And then we're moving forward. A third system could produce some rain showers primarily on Thursday in the mid-Atlantic region. Again, generally a warm pattern during the next several days. Then we get to the upcoming weekend, and we saw that very strong system or contrast in the temperature pattern between the cold air to the north and west, warm air to the south and east. It looks like one system will come out of this upper level low situation out of the western U.S. into the central plains during the first half of the upcoming weekend. Certainly on the warm side in the eastern part of the nation, except if you get all the way up to upstate New York. So primarily a rain event coming on Saturday in the mid-Atlantic region, certainly across the Tennessee Valley. Maybe some strong thunderstorms and certainly some heavy rain is a threat. That then will probably push a cold frontal system into the Ohio Valley and the western part of the mid-Atlantic region by the time we get to the second half of the upcoming weekend. And that's when things could get really interesting. A second system very well could form in the colder air during the Sunday night time frame, and depending on how far south and east that system could come, there could be some decent snowfall to talk about, at least in the interior part of the mid-Atlantic region, certainly up across the higher elevation regions of the northeastern quadrant of the nation come Sunday night time frame. So this is certainly a situation we'll watch over the next several days to see how it translates for the second half of the upcoming weekend. But some wintry precipitation today, the northern half of the mid-Atlantic region. A couple more low pressure systems over the next few days, primarily in the form of rain in the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor. That's it for now. For ArcFieldWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.